Another nice class over here on the Gelbvieh side. The heifer that wins the class, she's probably the show heifer of the bunch. I think this heifer's got a lot of good in her, though. She's really long and attractive. She's feminine enough through that front third. She's got some length of spine to her. Very adequate in terms of muscle, especially for a female. Just a very attractive type female. I'd like to maybe relax her just a little bit on her ankle when you ask her to get around the ring, but I think she puts enough good to her that I think she goes ahead and wins this class rather handily. The heifer here in second, I like her in terms of her frame size. I like her in terms of her rib and how easy doing she is. She's a heifer that probably doesn't have as much condition back over her rib as what you think she does looking through her front third. I'd like to tone her up just a little bit and make her a little more feminine on top of her neck, but I think she's a very practical, useful type of female that's got a lot of rib and a lot of substance to her. The heifer here in third is extremely attractive up through that head and front end. I appreciate her in terms of composition. She could probably stand just a little bit more on her, I think, but what you see is what you get. She's a heifer that's very good on her feet and legs. She's extremely sound when you ask her to go. I just like to see a little bit more lower third and flank in this heifer, like the heifer ahead of her, but I think she's really a feminine heifer that's got a lot of good pieces, and I think she just ties together from a balance standpoint better than these heifers that conclude the class. These are very functional type females for their size. They're bigger frame type females, but they got a lot of rib and they got some substance to them. This heifer here is dang sure a lot longer hipped, and I like that about her, and she's probably longer and more feminine up through that front third too. Really a big stout heifer concludes the class. I just like to thin her up through her front third and make her a little more attractive in her hip back to her pin set, but two really nice type females.
Finishing in the top two positions there of class number 5, your junior yearling Gelbvieh heifer calves. Calf the first of the year through the end of April. Congratulations. Tag number 412, finishing in the number 2 spot. That is Daiquiri, shown by McCarty Cattle Company of Rifle, Colorado. And then finishing in the coveted top position, Covington Miss, tag number 417 from Covington Gelbvieh of Montrose, Colorado.
Over on the Hereford side of the ring, I tell you what, the competition just continues to be awfully impressive this morning. And I like these 3 heifers at the front of the class a great deal. And to be perfectly honest with you, a judge could probably make a strong case for beginning with each one of these and not be wrong for doing it. But the heifer that I'm going to use to win the class today just dominates this in terms of performance and power and substance of muscle, stoutness of bone. And this is a heifer that I think's doing what she was born to do out here. She's got the look that belongs in the show ring. A heifer that when she really gets her stuck here and she kind of poses for you, she gives you an awfully attractive look from the side. A heifer that's got lots of strength in her lines, powerful in behind her top, perfect in terms of hip structure. I love the way that the hind leg sets in her. This is a heifer that's got plenty of body and rib to her today, but with her size, I hope that she can keep up with herself. I mean, I like the honesty and freshness of condition that this one has, but you know, from here going forward, you hope that one continues to have enough belly and have enough body in her to kind of keep up with all that power and all that size, and she certainly does for me today. That's an awfully stout one. I think it's just as close between second and third as anything for me here, and they're different types of cattle. The heifer that comes to us in second is just as soft and sound as anything in the class. That one's got a ton of rib and capacity and body volume to her, and not only the amount of body that you have, but you appreciate the type of body that she has. I mean, that one's opened up with some chest floor. She's got a lot of body there in the lower third of her rib cage. Really comes back nice and deep there in the rear part of that flank. Not as stout, not as muscular when you get in right behind her as that heifer that won the class. This heifer that places third here is just intriguing to me. She's as long spine probably relative to her frame and height as anything that we have in the entire class. I love this one, especially from her neck back. You know, the way that one comes out of the top of her shoulder with some strength and some levelness. Again, the length of hip and the style and the squareness and correctness of hip that she has is very impressive. She's designed a little bit different in her neck set, and that's not to say that one's bad fronted at all, but that neck sets down on her just a little bit lower compared to those heifers that went out in front of her. But those top 3 in that class I think are deadly. Gentleman's heifer in fourth here is I think just a real complete meat and potatoes, salt of the earth kind of a heifer. You like her body, you like her muscle, you like the bone and structure that she has, although there's nothing wrong with her balance. Up in the front third, she's just deeper necked. She's maybe just a touch plainer about that head, not quite the balance and attractiveness that we saw in the heifers that placed a little higher today. Come into a pair of heifers next that both these heifers are impressive in terms of their body volume, but for me, the darker red heifer just has more performance. I see that in terms of her height and stature, her frame, in terms of her length of body. A heifer that, I mean, she's not bad in her brisket, but compared to some of those others, may have just a touch more brisket in her. Might not be quite as soft right there at her pastern and not quite as true in terms of the way she handles those back legs. Wants to get them in behind her, up underneath her just a little bit on the move. The ladies heifer that comes around next, as I said, very deep-sided and super, super clean made. I mean, that one's refined in her neck, really, really good in her top. But again, one that maybe just flattens up a little bit for me, doesn't handle those back legs quite as nicely. Come into a pair of heifers that complete the class, different in their type and kind. Gentleman's heifer's powerful and high performing, lots of pounds, and man, I really like that. I really like that heifer. I think she'd be a nice cow. She just loses so much in terms of balance today. Maybe doesn't have that pizzazz and that profile, but gosh, what a cow prospect I think that one will be. And then a real clean made heifer, and like we said about the heifers in that last class, her best days are in front of her. All that one needs is just a little more time to fill out and develop, and I guarantee you 60 days you're not going to recognize that heifer. Good job to these exhibitors.
Top two over in the Hertford class there. Finishing number 2, Story Hertford Ranch, Bozeman, Montana, tag number 579, Melania. And at the top of the class, Kinsey Mickelson, Hobson, Montana, with tag number 525, Miss Manor. We'll welcome subclass number 2. I'll get specific later. Right now, I'm going to throw it back to Jason for selection of your champion junior female and reserve on the Gelbvieh side.
Nice division of females here. There is a heifer that just ties the most good together, and that's the second class winner here. When she comes back out, you even like her more, and I really like the quality this heifer's got about her front third, how she carries that all the way back. Very ample in terms of muscle. Just a very good, useful type of female with some added look, and I appreciate her in terms of composition. It gets a little bit tighter there for reserve, but I like this other black heifer here for reserve. I'd like to thin her up over the top of her neck and probably just change the whole angle of her shoulder, pick that neck up and lay it back just a little bit, but I love her in terms of dimension, how much rib and substance she's got behind her shoulder. She's really opened up there, really bold sprung, good back through her hips, sound enough on her feet and legs. Just a very practical kind of a heifer. Nice group of females from end to end.
Congratulations to your grand champion right there from Montrose, Colorado, Covington Gelbvieh's number 417. They call her Covington Miss. And finishing second in the reserve department, it's going to be Rifle, Colorado's McCarty Cattle Company with Daiquiri. Nicely done. All right, back over to the Hertford side now. To the Hertford side, we're going to get tag number 527, Sweet Surrender, from Gene Stillhan of Cheyenne, Wyoming. Also tag number 587, Rita, from Ned and Jan Ward of Sheridan, Wyoming. Bruce Thomas of Gold Creek, Montana, brings us tag number 568, Times Away. Tag number 586 from Ned and Jan Ward of Sheridan, Wyoming. That is Turquoise from the Story Hertford Ranch of Bozeman, Montana. We take tag number 580, Miss Lucia. Tag number 521, Churchill Lady, owned by Jack Hickey of Moore, Montana. Tag number 610, Curtis Rodney of Wellsville, Utah, Miss Manhattan. Tag number 533 is going to be Secret Passion from Erica Bianchi of Gilroy, California. And lastly, from the LBRW Cattle Company and Churchill Cattle Company, we welcome Churchill Lady, tag number 519.
Nice pair over here on the Gelbvieh side. Very practical cow in her working clothes, but I think with that you can tell how much depth of body she's got to her. Heifer calf still yet somewhat green. We saw her earlier in class, but she's got some of the same attributes too. For a greener one, I really like that depth of body. She's done a good job with this calf. She's good in her lines. Just a very practical, useful type of pair. Good job.
On the Gelbvieh side right here, that was class number 8, aged Gelbvieh cow with calf born before January 1st of 2014. Congratulations. Tag number 455 from the Bar J.R. Gelbvieh outfit in Rainsford, Montana. And that will then automatically be your champion cow-calf pair. Congratulations. All right, staying here on the Gelbvieh side now. We're going to go right to class number 9. Class number 9 is going to be a... Got ahead of myself right there. I apologize. We're going to pick our grand champion Gelbvieh female over here. My apologies. We welcome back to the Ford F-150 EcoBoost show ring all those in contention for Grand Champion Gelbvieh and Reserve.
Okay, let's go ahead and walk them. Really a nice lineup of Gelbvieh females over here. You get out here and there's a tremendous amount of quality for no bigger than the show was. I think these are very useful females with some added look. The heifer calf up here, I like this heifer calf a lot. I like how up-headed she is. Her neck comes good out of her shoulder, and I think you get behind there, I think she's got a tremendous amount to her. She's really good in that forerib. Great back from her hooks to her pins, and just so square hip. I think she handles herself well on her feet and legs when you get her around the ring. Just a very nice heifer calf with a lot of future. The big heifer behind her, I like her. I like her in terms of composition. I like how fresh she is. She's good up through that front third as well, too. Maybe not as much shape to her as the calf or a square hip, but I think she's really long. She gets around the ring pretty good. Like I said, I'd like to relax her just a little bit in her hind ankles, but I think it's probably just more than anything just hauling her to town. But I think she's a really good type of a female that's got a lot of good in her, and a really nice pair back there behind that too. Just kind of what you see is what you get. Very practical cattle, sound enough on their feet and legs. They got some body to them for no more condition what they have on them. Very useful type of cattle. I'm going to go out and pick your champion in reserve.
Congratulations to our reserve right there, number 417, Covington Miss from the Covington Gelbvieh of Montrose, Colorado. And congratulations to our champion, Maddie Lurkamp, Hermosa, South Dakota, tag number 424, Emma. Congratulations. Staying over here on the Gelbvieh side, we're going to go right to class number 9. Wait, I think we're going to go to photos first. When we get back from our photo ops, it's going to be class number 9. We'll welcome tag number 415. From Covington Gelbvieh's in Montrose, Colorado, Miss Ellie, as well as tag number 434 from La Grande, Oregon, the Sunlight Ranch, Sunshine Penelope. Tags 415 and 434, heifer calves, March 1st through the end of June 2017.
Well, congratulations, and my apologies for taking a little more time, but boy, this is a deep, deep class, the deepest set of heifers and the most evenly matched set of heifers that we've had all morning. This is a little bit like a NASCAR race. If you get a top 10 finish in this thing, you ought to feel pretty good about your day, because from front to end, we got some awesome, awesome heifers. But the one that I think kind of rises to the top pretty easy for me is the ladies heifer here, circling out now, just pretty dominant in terms of performance and in terms of power, tons of rib and tons of shape in this one, but still she wears it so well. It's a beautiful package. She's built correctly in her skeleton. That one's good at the ground. She's easy to watch on the move. Just a real powerful, real attractive heifer that I think has as much quality, balance, and style as anything in the entire class. Switch gears though in type just a little bit when we move to the heifers in second and third, and we come into some real powerful heifers that have a real productive look to them, and heifers that have a lot of performance and thickness. Between the two heifers, the ladies heifer in second just has a little more style for me. Now compared to the heifer in first, this one's got a little more crest there at the base of her neck, maybe not as attractive overall in the front third of her body, but still yet I think a cleaner heifer in her overall design than her heifer that places third. What a cowie heifer coming around in third. I mean, you just love the structure and the power, and simple fact is there's just a lot of heifer there in terms of her width and in terms of her thickness. There's a lot of bone underneath that one. Does she maybe have quite the pizzazz of that class-winning heifer? No. Is she poorly balanced? Absolutely not. I just think a heifer that's got a world of potential and future as a cow. Then we come into a pair of heifers next that I think are intriguing heifers, and the more you study them, kind of the more you like them. This is a pretty green-made heifer that's coming around now, but really I think's interesting in the parts and pieces that she has. A heifer that's really designed nice in her shoulder, strong down her top, long-sided, shows you some good shape of rib, some good honest shape with some curvature up high and in the center of her rib cage. And compared to that heifer right behind her, just more thickness when you get out hooks to pins and study her. Might loosen that one up just a little bit in the way that she goes. Young man's heifer that got bumped up a few places, I love on the move. I think she outmoves that heifer in front of her. She's a heifer that's, she gives you a great look when she's traveling, but when she stops, for me, this one wants to come apart. She wants to narrow up in her chest and pinch there in her forerib. I just like to open her up in the front part of her body there. Love the body that she has. Very, very stylish, beautifully presented heifer. Heifer that might just fall off a little bit for me today, hooks to pins. Certainly as she develops going forward, I think those things improve. Just a real complete heifer that comes around next. Probably not the most of anything, but extremely fault-free. Well balanced, sound on the move, but a heifer that gets out measured a little bit out here just in terms of overall substance. The heifer that comes around next is a big, long pattern heifer, extremely growthy, lots of performance and style in this one. Might like to relax her just a little bit in that tailhead. I love the heifer that's coming around next. Deep body, deep-sided heifer, but a little smaller and shorter, more compact in her kind out here compared to some of these other heifers at the front of the class. But if you like one a little more moderate in her kind, boy, there's one that's really put together right. And a big, growthy, high-performing heifer completes the class, just gives up a little bit of balance. As I begin by saying, easily the most competitive class we've seen so far. Congratulations, exhibitors.
Great class over there on the Hereford side. Finishing in the number 2 position is tag number 587. 587, Ned and Jan Ward of Sheridan, Wyoming. That was Rita. And finishing in the number 1 spot, Churchill Lady from the Churchill Cattle Company of Manhattan, Montana. Tag number 519. All right, now on to the Hereford side yet. We're going to go to selection of our reserve champion junior heifer and champion junior heifer calf. So we'll welcome back to the Ford F-150 EcoBoost show ring the following tags. Number 525, Kinsey Mickelson, that is, of Hobson, Montana. Number 579 from the Story Hereford Ranch of Bozeman, Montana. Number 587, again, Jen and Ned Ward of Sheridan, Wyoming. And from the Churchill Cattle Company, Manhattan, Montana, tag number 519. Jake will make his selection for your reserve and your grand and your champion heifer right there. Coming back over here to the Gelbvieh side. We're going to class number 9. Class number 9, going to be spring balancer heifer calf March 1st through the end of June. We welcome to the show ring Miss Ellie from Covington Gelbvieh of Montrose, Colorado. Tag number 415. Also, tag number 434, Sunshine Penelope from the Sunlight Ranch, La Grande, Oregon. And also, I do want to let you know, Red Angus, they're going to be checking in the Red Angus out back here to my right, out the west end of the east end of the building at 10 a.m. Check in for the Red Angus, 10 a.m.
Pair of really nice females here, really a show heifer with a lot of future here, I think wins the class. So extremely long up through that front third, and it sets high out of her shoulder. With that, she's got an ample amount of sweep to her ribs. She's good in her muscle design for a little heifer calf. Looks like she's going to be good on her feet and legs, really wanting to fight the halter out here. First trip to town, you can tell, but I think this is going to be an awfully good one down the road. The heifer here in second, so a very practical, useful type of heifer. Adequate in terms of ribs, just kind of adequate everywhere. She just isn't hooked up and is designed as neat as our class winner here, but two nice females.
Now, as we consider our class winners for division championship over here in the Hereford ring, first of all, do me a favor and put your hands together. This was a super competitive set of calves. Let's give these guys a round of applause. Young man's gentleman's calf up here in the front of the ring, I think, has got a world of potential. And that's a little bit cliche and worn out to say that about the young one in every division, but I really believe that. You know, I love the natural rib shape and body that one's showing. I like the bone that she's got at this age and the development she's showing back in her hip. As much as anything, I like the type and kind of this one. Just her skeletal outline. You know, that heifer's got some true frame and some growth to her. She's got some height there at the point of her shoulder. She comes out with some strength and some stability and levelness down her top line and hip. I mean, that one we've probably seen some that are designed just maybe a little bit better in their shoulder. That one kind of wants to open up a little bit in the front of that shoulder, but that's getting picky on one that I think still balances up really, really well, and again, one that I think is going to be fun to see this time next year. The heifer that's probably a little different in lineup by admission is the heifer standing here in the middle, and I said in class that she's born to do what she's doing out here, and I think that's to walk around in a show ring with a show halter on. I mean, she's got some pizzazz to her. A lot of performance and a lot of muscle and a lot of bone. You appreciate her from that standpoint, but it still puts it in a nice package. And certainly a growthy heifer. And, you know, the question I had in class is that one kind of going to keep up with herself? You know, is she going to kind of get to a point, then plateau out on growth and really keep a lot of that body that we see in her today? Or will her growth get ahead of her a little bit? And will you want a little bit more rib, maybe a little more forerib in that one eventually? You know, time will tell, but today that one's really, really interesting. But again, different in her type out here, different in her kind. And then the heifer that just completed this last class, you know, she won that class, and that was the most competitive class, I think, of the day, but I think she won it pretty easily, and that one does a lot of things right for me. She's got the performance and the frame that I like to see. She's still got some stoutness in terms of her structure and muscle, but just puts it together in a package that, when I think about it, the word quality just comes to mind. And I just like the design. I like the type and kind of female that is. For me, she's your champion out here. I'll take a closer look for reserve. Congratulations.
here on the Gelbvieh side in this class number 9. Finishing in the number 2 position, we had Sunshine Penelope from Sunlight Ranch in La Grande, Oregon, and Miss Ellie from Montrose, Colorado, finished at the top of the class from Covington, Gelbvieh's. In the ring right now, on the Gelbvieh side, we've got tag 401, tag 441, tag 404, tag number 445, tag 413, and tag number 427. Jason is considering class number 10 now. These are winter balance heifer calves, January 1st through the 28th of February of 2017. To our champion junior heifer calf on the Hereford side, tag number 519 from the Churchill Cattle Company in Churchill, Montana. They call her Churchill Lady. Also partnered with the Churchill Cattle Company on that one was L-Bar W Cattle Company. Congratulations. And finishing in reserve, Kinsey Mickelson of Hobson, Montana, tag number 525. They call her Miss Manor. Congratulations. Coming into the Ford F-150 EcoBoost show ring on the Hereford side, we've got class number 3 now. Class number 3, 4 entries in the class. Tag number 612, Lady from Rodney Curtis of Wellsville, Utah, and the Cash Cattle Company. Tag number 544 is Daisy from Durbin Creek Ranch of Thermopolis, Wyoming. Tag number 545, Flora, also from Durbin Creek Ranch of Thermopolis. And tag number 538 from the Daniels Hereford Place in Mallet City, Idaho, that is Sunny Lady. Again, that is winter heifer calves, calved the 1st of November through the end of the year 2016 on the Hereford side.
Really nice class over here with a dominant class winner. This heifer, not only standing still, looks really good, but when you get her around, I think she's pretty good too. One minor thing I'd like to change about her, and I don't think she's infantile there, is I'd like to put a bigger foot under her. It'd probably relax her a little bit in that ankle as well, but I think this heifer is so attractive up through that front end. Awesome in terms of body, really good out to her pins, with plenty of muscle for a female. Just a really neat package with added look and added power, substance. The heifer's got it all. If she had a little bigger foot under her, I'd call her unbeatable. The heifer here in second's really, really nice as well. I think she's a little more of just a fault-free type of heifer, and I think she gets herself up here from practicality. The heifer's really good on her feet and legs. She's exceptionally sound when you ask her to go. She's got some look. She's feminine up through that neck. It lays in neat to her shoulder. She's got an abundant amount of rib. She's good back through her hip, just not near as powerful as our class winner or this heifer in third. But this heifer in third's probably just a little bit too much for me. She's just a little too apple-hipped. She's got a lot of muscle in her. I think, though, with that, she's sound enough the way she moves. She isn't restricted for having that much hip in her. She's a heifer that's really long and extended up through that front end. She's long-bodied. Just like to soften her up and tone her down a little bit. The heifer here in fourth's very green, but I think she's very practical in her kind, and she's sound enough on her feet and legs. If she'll continue to develop and get enough lower third in her, I think this heifer will be even more competitive. We get into a couple of heifers here that are just a little bit racier in their design. I'd like to soften them up and maybe push them along just a little bit in terms of depth of body, but I think there are heifers that are long and extended. I like the more moderate package that's wider hipped over the heifer that I think's got a little more length to her, but I'd like to change this heifer off of her hind leg when she leaves you. But a very nice class from end to end.
On the Gelbvieh side right here, finishing top 2 in the class right there, that is Effie. Tag number 427, Julie Maud of Hermosa, South Dakota. And finishing at the top of the class from Ree Heights, South Dakota, Lass. That is J.W. Ledoux, tag number 441. And here on the Gelbvieh side, we'll welcome back into the Ford F-150 show arena all those in contention for reserve champion heifer calf and champion heifer calf. Jake, please.
Thanks. Over here we've got our November and December heifers, and a pair of them that are pretty evenly matched up here at the top of the class. But between the two, I believe the gentleman, this one gets just a touch rounder out of her hip there, maybe a little coarser about her head and neck for me. And then the heifer that comes in third, I think sure belongs over the heifer that stands behind her just in terms of power. Heifer that's holding herself together out here a little better today, just a little more shape, a little more overall pattern. Young lady who completes the class here, done a good job sticking with that heifer and hanging on to her here through this deal. Sure got a heifer with some growth and some length. I like the length of hip and the squareness of hip that one has. Sure looks like the kind that go out and make a money-making cow for this young lady. Congratulations to all these exhibitors.
Over on the Hereford, on the Hereford side, that is, winner heifer calves. Finishing number 2 in the class, going to be Daniels Hereford Ranch, Mellon City, Idaho. Tag number 538, Sunny Lady. And congratulations, finishing top in the class, Rodney Curtis, that is, Wellsville, Utah. Tag number 612, showing Lady. We'll welcome over on the Hereford side, class number 4 right now. I'll get more specific later, but right now, go ahead, Jason.
Nice calf division here. I do think we have a pretty dominant heifer here, and that's the heifer out of the second class. Go ahead and pull her over. She'll be your calf champion. There's a little bit more give and take here for reserve. This heifer calf that wins the first class, I love the neck set in this heifer, and I think for how green she is, you really got to appreciate the depth to her rib and how she carries that, for how lean she's constructed everywhere else. She's got some true honest sweep to it. When you get behind her, she's exceptionally square pinned, really good muscle. She's sound enough on her feet and legs. She's wanting to fight the halter. You can tell she hasn't been messed with for very long. Just by her body language and how she's acting here and how she gets herself around the ring. Kind of a plainer heifer here, follows her, but I think this heifer gets to be second in her class just because she's so practical and fault-free and how she handled herself around the ring. But I'm going to say this one and down the road in the future, I think will be a slam dunk of the two. I love the neck set and how this heifer carries herself, and so honest in her muscle when you get into her hip and how it lays back into her pins. Just really a neat type of female for down the road.
Congratulations to the reserve right there, number 415. That is going to be Miss Ellie from Covington Gelbviehs of Montrose, Colorado, and the grand champion here on the Gelbvieh side will be tag number 441, Lass from J.W. Ledoux of Reese Heights, South Dakota. Those are your reserve and your champions, We'll welcome in on the Gelbvieh side, class number 13. It's a single entry class, number 422, Dreams of Kogan from Grace Steenbergen of Cheyenne, Wyoming. And over on the Hereford side right now, Jake is considering a class of 4. Tag number 574, Miss Advance Flesh Jagger of Jagger Flesh, that is, of Shelby, Montana. Tag number 506, Diana Shoten by Austin Frank of Columbus, Montana. Destiny, tag number 561 off the Lucky You Cattle Outfit in Missoula, Montana. And Daniels Hereford Ranch of Mellon City, Idaho, bringing us tag number 539, Miss Thor. Those are senior heifer calves, calved between September 1st and the end of October.
Really a nice single entry here. This heifer's got a ton of rib in her, lots of body and lots of power and muscle. Probably just like to make her more feminine, strip some of that condition out of her front end. I think she'd get more mobile out of her shoulder, but really a powerfully constructed female.
Congratulations to number 422 on the Gelbvieh side here. She is going to be our champion junior female. That is Dreams of Kogan from the NS Bar Cattle Company, Cheyenne, Wyoming, Grace Steenbergen. We'll go to class number 15 now on the Gelbvieh side. Class number 15, a single entry, tag number 449, Vivian, coming to us from Ree Heights, South Dakota, J.W. Ledoux.
Over here in our September and October born Hereford class, we've got, I think, a pretty easy winner that finds her way to the top. I think she stands out in this class as being the broodiest and the cowiest and still yet probably the nicest balanced, or at least the most problem-free and fault-free, all things considered. And she's probably most impressive to me kind of from neck back. Like the natural body that she has, a heifer that's really nice and square and level from hooks to pins. I think her hind leg hooks in her correctly and she handles herself good enough on the move. We've seen heifers that are a little fresher fronted today, and that's how I would improve her. A heifer that's probably most like her in her kind, but is fresher in her condition today, comes to us with the young man's heifer in second. And isn't it fun to watch him? I bet Mom and Dad are proud. That's pretty cool. But this heifer's got good growth, good length, good frame, heifer that goes around the ring in good enough shape. She's still got a little room to go probably in terms of condition. She's on the opposite end of the scale as maybe that first place heifer, but I think cowy in her kind. You might tidy, just make her a little neater about her brisket there. You might raise her just a point or two there at her top of her shoulder to balance her out a little more, but still a really cowy, broody, useful type of prospect there. And then in third and fourth, I think the thing I would say is I'd like to combine the best parts and pieces of each of these. And you could switch these around either way and make a case for doing so. But the heifer in third's got more of the size and length of those first two cattle that I used. And she's nicer balanced and she's cleaner and fresher than that darker red heifer that's going to follow her. When I get behind her and I study her hip structure, I think she's got a little more honest shape and a little more honest width. I'd like to add to that one, though, just a little more forerib and body, and that's the big advantage that this fourth place heifer has. She's really, really powerful in her rib. She's got a lot of depth and capacity and forerib in her. I love the center body depth that one has, but on the other side of the coin, this one's a little smaller and shorter and more compact in her kind, maybe not designed quite the same out of her rump as some of those heifers on the top today. Congratulations, exhibitors.
In the number 2 spot, over on the far side in the class, we had Miss Advance, tag number 574 from Jager Flesh of Shelby, Montana, and the Daniels Hereford Ranch of Mellon City, Idaho. Tag number 539 finished at the top of the class. That was Miss Thor.
An unbelievable single entry over here. I think you could stack 30 pair out here and they'd still surface. This female's awesome up through her front third. I like how honest she is in her rib and how it carries back. She's good in both her forerib and the depth. She's really good and long out of her hip and really square built. Exceptionally sound when she gets around the ring. An ear perfect udder. Just a very awesome cow. And along with that, she's got a May bull calf nursing her that I think's got a ton of future in it. Lots of look and shape to him. Just a really good type of a calf. I love the youthfulness of this cow. I like the condition she's in. It's just right to come to town. I don't think she's stale for being a cow that's been fed this long with a bull calf on her side. He is so good, too, on his feet and legs. Just a very useful type of pair.
Congratulations to the single entry over here on the Gelbvieh side, number 439. From J.W. Ledoux's outfit in Ree Heights, South Dakota. That will also be your champion cow-calf. Congratulations. We'll move now over here on the Gelbvieh side to selection of our reserve grand champion and our grand champion balancer female. And I would invite back into the Ford F-150 EcoBoost show ring all those in contention for selection of the aforementioned.
Well, I think we got a lot of similarities between our two class winners. Not a terribly big division, but some good cattle came through the ring in each of those two classes. And, you know, the similarities that I see as I think these heifers are comparable in their type and kind. Similar in terms of their body and their muscle shape. Similar in terms of their bone work. Similar perhaps in terms of their growth and performance. But yet on the other side of the coin, I think there's differences in style and balance and eye appeal. There's differences in freshness of condition. There's differences in femininity and cleanliness of front end. And the heifer that I think has the advantage in that area would be the dark red heifer that came out of the first class. So congratulations to you. She'll be your division champion.
not a show with a lot of numbers, but unbelievable quality over here on the Gelbvieh side. There's some females in here that I think could run at any level, anywhere, and I think it's pretty neat to see. An awesome display of cattle here. With that being said, I think the one that ties to that statement so well is this pair back here. From the second they walk in, you know that you're going to really tie to these cattle. There's so much good in them. There's so much femininity in this cow with plenty of broodiness also. So good in that rib and hip and sound on her feet and legs. Great udder, great bull calf on her side, and he's very youthful looking. Cow's very fresh in her appearance. I think it's pretty easy to tie this pair, and they'll be your champion. Go ahead and bring them on over. And then I think for reserve, I think body and type and the whole bit that fits them is this heifer calf that the young man showed earlier. She's awesome. Love this heifer on the standstill. She's made and designed a whole lot like this cow up through her front end and her body, maybe even more hip in this heifer. Like I said earlier, if you could put a little bigger foot underneath her, I'd call her almost unbeatable. There's so much good to her, and she'll be your reserve. Very nice cattle.
Congratulations to our reserve there. Tag number 441 from J.W. Ledoux in Reheight, South Dakota. That is Lass. And finishing in the champion position, number 439, your grand champion, Vivian. Tag number 439 again, Reheight, South Dakota. Congratulations, J.W. Ledoux, on a very, very strong showing. And on the Hereford side, congratulations to your reserve champion, fall heifer. It's going to be tag number 538, Sunny Lady from the Daniels Hereford Ranch in Mellon City, Idaho. And from Wellsville, Utah, Rodney Curtis has tag number 612. He calls her Lady, and she is our champion fall heifer calf.
Our single entry August heifer over here is a nice one. I think that'll make a nice replacement female in their operation. A heifer that's good in terms of her body, growth, length, and extension. Really like the levelness from hooks to pins that this one has. Yeah, she's got a little touch of brisket and gets her back legs under a little bit more, but lots and lots of positives and a good deserving class winner there.
Again, a nice class, single class entry over there. They call her Choice. She comes from the Durbin Ranch of Thermopolis, Wyoming. Her tag is 546, and we're going to go right into class number 6 now. Some spring yearling heifer calves calved the 1st of March through April 30, and again, I'm talking about the Hereford side of the show here. We welcome subclass number 6, this subclass from class 6. Tag number 547, Dominant from Durbin Creek Ranch of Thermopolis, Wyoming. Tag number 549. They're going to call her Miss Full Throttle. She comes from the Hooker Cattle Company of Rygate, Montana. Tag number 573 is Grace from Tegan Bauma of Stevensville, Montana. And tag number 526 is Lady Traveler from Elsa Petzold of Sheridan, Wyoming. 516, tag number 516, Look at Me Now. She is Taylor Cameron from Cheyenne, Wyoming, off of Cameron's Cattle Company. And from Frank Herfords of Columbus, Montana, we get tag number 509. They call her Diva. Again, this is Class 6 on the Hereford side. Spring yearling heifer calves calved in the month of March through the end of April 2017. I'm going to take just a minute while Jake is over there surveying another excellent class of Herefords. We need to pay just a couple of bills. Need to give a shout out to Select Sires, offering an expanded sire lineup that includes more elite bulls from respected programs. Select Sires, calving ease, carcass, and cows. Stop by and see Jay Nansel at their booth in the trade show or visit your local Select Sire representative. Pine Coulee Bulls, bulls bred and tested for convenience, efficiency, and profit traits. Pine Coulee Bulls sale will be March 12, 2018 at the Wagon Box Ranch of Hardin, Montana. This year they're going to be selling 180 bulls and 155 yearling and coming 2-year-olds. Thank you to Jim Stampville and John Carroll. And on a personal note, I want to give a shout-out and a thank you to the Northern Ag Network, bringing you the latest in ag news, markets, and weather. Russell Nimitz and Lane Nordland, along with Ed McIntosh in the weather department, the powerful voice of the West, as close as your nearest radio dial, or you can go online to www.northernag.net. And again, on a personal note, I want to thank the Northern Ag Network for bringing me here again in 2017 to be the voice of the stock show at our 50th anniversary NILE.
I think a pretty clear winner over here on the Hereford side of things. A heifer that is easily the most problem-free, fault-free kind of female in this class. Really, really fresh and youthful in her look. Really feminine and nicely designed throughout. Smooth and hooked together from end to end really, really nicely. Gives you a nice look. Handles herself really good on the move. Easily, I think, the best combination of body and muscle thickness in terms of power. Heifers in second and third, there's some real differences in. The heifer in second doesn't just grab your attention from a show ring standpoint, but she's much more, I think, the better one in terms of soundness of structure and in terms of movement compared to the darker heifer that's going to place third today. She's adequate in terms of her muscle and in terms of her body. If we make her better, we'd maybe give her a little more of just that look and a little more of that pizzazz that we see in this third place heifer. Third place heifer is really an up-fronted kind of a heifer, really strong and level in her lines, comes out of her shoulder blade good with some strength and some levelness, long and square from hooks to pins, but a heifer that's maybe a little flatter in her kind. She's carrying a little more condition today. A heifer that, although she's got a lot of bone underneath her, she doesn't handle it the absolute best in terms of movement, in terms of structure. That big cow coming out next, you know, she's a what you see is what you get kind of a female. She's done a great job with the hair coat on this heifer, but, you know, maybe she hasn't had quite as much clipping as some of the other ones have in here, but that one's got a lot of cowiness and broodiness to her, lots and lots of body and size and length. One that's a little different up in her front end, that neck sets down on her just a little bit lower, but I think certainly the best days for that one is when she goes out in the pastures. That looks like she'll be a really nice, productive brood cow. Then two total opposites here to complete the class. I'm going to use the stouter one of the pair that's probably got a little more body for me. I think compared to the heifer that she follows, just a little more practical in her size, a little more substance to her. I love the cleanliness, the femininity of this big heifer that rounds out the class, but probably getting a little on the upper end of things for me in terms of size. Just maybe like to see a little more body to go along with it. Thank you.
First of all, over here on the Gelbvieh side, we've got a junior balancer female in here. It's tag number 423, Disco. From Cheyenne, Wyoming, Grace Steenbergen off the NS Bar Cattle Company. Finishing in the top two positions over on the Hereford side there. Taylor Cameron of Cheyenne, Wyoming. Tag 516, Look at Me Now. Finishing at the top of the class is Miss Full Throttle from the Hooker Cattle Company of Rygate, Wyoming. And on the Hereford side, we're going to make selection for Reserve Champion Intermediate and Champion Intermediate Heifer Calf. So we'll welcome back tags 546, 549, and tag number 516. Good luck.
An exceptional single entry bull over here. We saw him a little bit ago on the side of his mother. But I really like the youthfulness of this calf, and I think with that being said, there's a lot to this calf. He got some forearm already to him. He's stout. He's good over his top, back through his hip. Good on his feet and legs. Looks like he's going to have a great set of testicles underneath him as well. Just a very good, useful kind of a calf with added look and dimension.
Nice strong entry right there here on the Gelbvieh side. That's going to be your champion junior bull as well. Tag number 423, Disco. Again, off the NS Bar Cattle Outfit in Cheyenne, Wyoming, Grace Steenbergen. I misspoke right there. I apologize. That was a spring balancer bull calf. My apologies. I was completely on the wrong page there. That was tag 440. Roundhouse from J.W. Ledoux in Reheights, South Dakota. Now we'll go to class number 18 here on the Gelbvieh side. We've got Maddie Lurkamp from Hermosa, South Dakota, bringing us 429, Mad Hank. And from Rifle, Colorado, the McCarty Cattle Company, tag number 414, Exclusive Order.
Well, again, a nice division, maybe not the biggest, and certainly we had more differences to contend with in type and kind, but a nice lineup at the end. Gentleman's heifer that stands out of that first class here just was really complete. Plenty of body, plenty of bone, hooked up together right for me in terms of her hip and hind leg structure. We've seen them that are a little prettier up through their front end, and maybe that's where we change her, tidy her up a bit about her brisket, take a little of that crest out of the base of her neck. But from there back, there's one you got to admire, and she does a lot of things really correctly. The heifer that comes out the second class here, she just screams freshness to you. I mean, that one's lean and true in every aspect. Really clean, fresh up through her front end. Relative to her height, and she's got plenty, but she's so long-spined. I mean, that heifer just goes on for days and days and days, and you see it everywhere you look at her. She's long-fronted. She's long-sided. She's got a really nice long hip in her. This heifer's her own worst enemy, in my opinion. She doesn't walk around the ring. She kind of just bullies her way around the ring. You know, she shoves on this young lady quite a bit, but if she ever gives her a chance to just relax and move and go out on her own, you know, I think you kind of like the way she handles herself, but when she gets to pushing and shoving, she wants to bunch herself up in the way she moves, and she gets just a little more tension and tightness there in her top as she goes around, and maybe I just relax her, but I do really truly believe that's more of a function of just her attitude today more than anything. 60 days from now, I think that one's going to be pretty fun to look at as she just develops a little more. And then certainly a nice second that came out of that first class there. So congratulations to each and every one of you. I'll go find your champion. Thanks.
Nice pair of bulls here. A little different in maturity patterns here. I like just probably how complete this calf is right here, and I think he ties himself together better. I think he's pretty green and raw yet. He needs a little bit more in his forerib, but I think with that he's got a lot of depth of rib. He's ample in terms of muscle when you get behind him. kind of wants to wallow around the ring a little bit, and you really can't get him in motion, get a good look. But everything lines up well for him to be sound. With that, he's got some shape to his hip. This bull here is definitely more mature right now. You can tell up through his neck and testicles and just how he's kind of already wanting to shuck that hair. But I think this is a really good, useful, practical kind of a bull. I think you could sell a lot like this bull. He just doesn't have the overall look and appearance and youthfulness of our class winner.
Over here on the Gelbvieh side, finishing second in the class, going to be from McCarty Cattle Company, Rifle, Colorado, tag number 414, Executive Order. And finishing at the top of the class, Maddie Lurkamp of Hermosa, South Dakota, with Matt Hank. And we'll move now for selection of our champion junior bull calf and the reserve. Meanwhile, over on the far side, in the Hereford department, we've made selection for our reserve champion intermediate heifer calf, and that is going to be tag number 546, Choice, from Durbin Creek Ranch in Thermopolis, Wyoming. Congratulations. And then your champion, tag number 549, from the Hooker Cattle Outfit in Rygate, Montana, Miss Full Throttle. Congratulations. On the Hereford side, then, we'll welcome into the Ford F-150 EcoBoost show ring, tag number 600, Sir Willia, from Gavin Garrison of Glen, Montana, and from Ned and Jan Ward, tag number 584. They come to us from Sheridan, Wyoming. They call this one Faith. We are now making our... Right now, over on my side, on the Gelbvieh side, Jason is making his selection for Reserve Champion Junior Bull Calf and Champion Junior Bull Calf.
Sure, a nice pair of heifers out here, but, you know, that heifer that's going to win this thing is awfully dominant and awfully good in a lot of ways. You'd talk about her and say a lot of things, but it would all be extremely positive. I just think she's got a lot of quality, not only in terms of her type and kind, but also in terms of her productiveness, her power, her functionality. Just a solid female and an awfully good one in my mind. Young man's got a good little prospect program right here going. Got a real cowy, fresh one. Boy, I like the way you've got her hair working, and you fed her just right. You know, not too fat. She's real fresh and lean, and I think you got some room to go with that one. And as you go into the fall and winter, I just see her getting better and better because I really like the shoulder in her and the length, and just with a little more time, I think, you know, that heifer's going to be a lot of fun for you and sure be a nice cow when you get done. So congratulations.
Over on the far side in the Herefords, finishing in order there. Finishing second, Gavin Garrison of Glen, Montana with Sir Willia. And finishing at the top of the class was Ned and Jan Ward of Sheridan, Wyoming with Faith. And we'll welcome into the Hereford side a single entry now from the Lucky You Cattle Company, Missoula, Montana, tag number 558, Victoria. This is Senior Yearling Heifers Calf, September 1st through the end of the year. Mr. Hoffman, take it away.
Really an exciting set of bull calves over here, and they're so useful, all three of them in their own right. They vary a little bit in type and kind, but I think in terms of quality, they tie together really good as a lineup out here. This young bull calf's got so much look and design to him. He's very immature yet, but you can read the lines there to maturity, and I think he's going to be exceptional. Really get up in that forerib and back through his hip, sound on his feet and legs, nice set of testicles underneath him, really clean sheath. I think the calf's got a lot of shape in his forerib. I just think he's an exceptionally good calf. A little bit of a flatter design calf, if you will, is the calf out of the second class. With that, he's probably just a little bit sheathier. He just doesn't have the overall look and appearance, but I think he's so good for being so green and raw as far as having all that depth of body to him. Lines out good through his hip, good on his feet and legs, very good kind of a bull. Really, the calf there in seconds, just like we talked about, a little bit more early mature, and you can tell up through his crest and the way he's designed and how hard-haired he is. There's a lot of testosterone pumping through him. I think you can sell a lot of cattle designed like him, but out here in the show ring, I don't think we give up any bulliness in these two class winners. I'm going to use this May calf for champion here and the calf behind him for reserve. Really nice lineup of bulls, though.
Well, congratulations to our single entry winner over here on the Hereford side of the thing. And this big September heifer is really fancy. I think she's got a lot of style and femininity and attractiveness when you study her up in the front third of her body. Like the head, like the neck, like the cleanliness of brisket and chest that she has. Super, super strong. I mean, she's my kind in terms of her skeleton pattern, and that she's level, she's square, she's long. Heifer that's really, really presented in a real world condition out here. We've seen some heifers with a little more bloom on them, but that one I think is awfully good in terms of just attractiveness and style. So congratulations.
On the Hereford side, congratulations to a single entry there. Victoria from the Lucky You Cattle Outfit in Missoula, Montana. We'll welcome in on the Hereford side all those in contention for selection of reserve champion yearling heifer and champion yearling heifer. Meanwhile, over here on the Gelbvieh side, we're going to class number 21. It is a single entry class. Tag number 423. This is Disco. Junior Balancer Bull from Grace Steenbergen of Cheyenne, Wyoming, the NS Bar Cattle Company.
Really a good single entry here in the Gelbvieh Bull Show. I like how masculine this bull is up through his head and the neck. Just really dominant, and it carries in that forearm when he comes out here. Front two-thirds of this bull I like a lot. In fact, I like a lot of things about this bull, and I do like how he's made back through his hip, too. He wants to handle those ankles just a little funny when he gets out here on chips. I think more than anything that can just be from coming to town, because I wouldn't call him unsound by any means. He just kind of wants to snap those ankles a little bit. But I like how rugged this bull is, and with that being said, I like how he ties together. Very good, useful type of a bull.
Congratulations there to tag number 423. We're over on the Gelbvieh side now. Good single entry. That is going to be your champion junior bull as well. And we'll drop now down on the Gelbvieh side to class number 23. Spring Gelbvieh bull calf from March 1st to the end of June. Tag 458 from Rainsford, Montana. Bar J.R. Gelbvieh's. Tag number 457 again from Bar J.R. in Rainsford. Tag number 405 from Ledgerwood Gelbvieh in Clarkston, Washington.
Well, the truth is some decisions are easier than others. You got to think and study sometimes, and sometimes it's pretty clear-cut. And for me, this is a real clear-cut, easy decision out here, and we're going to use that real Cowie one that come out of the first class there to win this division. Like I said, we could say a lot about her, and I sure hope these people aren't offended that I haven't bragged on her more, but what we would say would be positive in a lot of different regards. I mean, the presentation's just beautiful on that heifer. I think, for one, at that stage of the game, the freshness and the soundness is awfully impressive, and just tons of cowiness and stoutness to her, but still enough look and balance and femininity that she shows herself off and fits in here in show ring setting. So a real deserving champion, real easy champion for me, and we'll take a little closer look for reserve. As we do that, please give this lady a nice, well-deserved round of applause. Thank you. Go ahead and walk these two.
Really a deep quality set of cattle over here on the Gelbvieh side. Give and taken all these cattle naturally, but I think there is just some really good, useful type of a cattle. I'm going to go ahead and use this big bull here. Like I said, he wants to snap those pasterns a little bit, but that isn't this bull. I think it's environment, getting him here to town, and how he kind of wants to get around. And I think here on the bark as well. There's just so much good in him. He's so masculine up through that front end, but really has a dominant herd bull look, I think, to go with that. Good on his feet. Just a really good, useful kind of a bull. Awesome calf up here for reserve. Made so good. So cool looking. I think there's a lot of future in him, but today I think we got a good enough big bull. We'll go ahead and stick with him.
Congratulations here on the Gelbvieh side to our reserve grand champion Bellinser Bull. Going to be tag number 440, Roundhouse from J.W. Ledoux in Ree Heights, South Dakota. And our grand champion bull is going to be tag number 423, coming to us from the NS Bar Cattle Company. Grace Steenbergen, Cheyenne, Wyoming, tag number 423. Congratulations, Disco.
We're waiting on a reserve champion. I don't know.
Here on the Gelbvieh side, we're going to welcome class number 23. Class 23. Class number 23. Tag ID number 458 from Rainsford, Montana. Bar J.R. Gelbviehs. Tag number 457. Also from Bar J. Gelbviehs. Rainsford, Montana. Tag number 405. Ledgerwood Gelbviehs of Clarkston, Washington. Congratulations for our champion yearling heifer calf on the Hereford side, number 584, Faith from Ned and Jan Ward of Sheridan, Wyoming. And our reserve is going to be tag number 600 from Glid, Montana, Gavin Garrison showing Sir Willia. Over on the Hereford side now. We are going to move to selection of our grand champion and our reserve grand champion heifer. So we'll welcome back into the Ford F-150 EcoBoost show ring all those in contention for selection of the aforementioned.
Nice black bull here, starting the class with as muscular as this guy is, too. He can really get around the ring good. He's sound on his feet and legs. And I think another neat combination in this bull calf for being that muscular in his design is being able to have that much body and rib in him. Usually you don't see that together, and I think it balances out really nice. With that, he's attractive enough through his front end, really a wide base calf with a tremendous amount of quality. We get down here, these other two calves, they're a little bit more raw design, but I think there's enough more performance and size and scale in this calf here to go ahead and be second. He's got enough more performance in him and just enough WDA. I think that he goes ahead and fits there rather handily. I like the testicular development better on this calf here in third than I do the calf in second, but there just isn't enough of him yet, but I think it's a really good class from end to end.
Nice class right there. Class number 23, Spring Gelbvieh Bull Calves, March 1st through the end of June 2017. Finishing in the number 2 spot is going to be tag number 457 from Bar J.R. Gelbviehs in Rainsford, Montana. And our champion of the class comes to us from Clarkston, Washington, Ledgerwood Gelbvieh, tag number 405. And we're going to welcome into the Ford F-150 EcoBoost show ring class number 24 over here on the Gelbvieh side. It is a sizable class, so here we go. Tag number 407, Time Warp, comes to us from Ledgerwood Gelbvieh of Clarkston, Washington. Tag number 429, they call him Elvis, Julie Maud of Hermosa, South Dakota. Tag number 428 also comes to us from Julie Maud of Hermosa, South Dakota, off the CJ&L Livestock outfit. They call this one Entrepreneur. Tag number 420 from Salida, Colorado, Vic Veltri of the Veltri Gelbvieh outfit. They call him Mr. Avatron. Tag number 406 from Ledgerwood Gelbvieh of Clarkston, Washington. This one is Apollo. Number 419 from Grand Valley Gelbvieh, Parachute, Colorado, Red Tractor. Tag number 444 from the Kicking Horse Ranch, Kathleen Rankin of Oilmont, Montana. Tag number 402, Danelle Napoleon from Danelle Diamond 6 Ranch in Lewistown, Montana.
Well, as we get ready to wrap things up over here in the Hereford side of the ring, let me first of all express my appreciation for the opportunity to share my opinion on such a good set of cattle today. And particularly some of these younger divisions that were so stacked with good ones from top to bottom. It was just a lot of fun, and it's a real pleasure to be able to offer an opinion on such high-quality cattle coming from such a well-respected breed that we have here in the industry. Please join me now, if you would. Let's give these folks a real nice round of applause. This has been a good show. You know, for me, I'm just going to cut to the chase. It comes down to the two heifers at each end of the ring for me. And the calf that we have up here, I think, is phenomenal. I think she came out of a phenomenally powerful class, phenomenally powerful division, and I think that's kind of speaks for itself as you see her out here and how she measures up in quality compared to some of these other good cattle that we have. And, you know, for her age, the size, the performance, the length and the frame that she has, stoutness and the power that she shows at this young age is awfully, awfully impressive. And I think that one's unique in terms of her build. I like the balance and the skeletal design of her. We all have a type and kind, and I guess for me, she fits the type and kind and the mold pretty well of what I like to see, at least in an animal that's this young. Feminine in her design, but, you know, not so much that she gives up that cowiness. She's still got some broodiness and kind of a natural look to her, but certainly long-spined and big-bodied and long-hipped, and just one that does a whole lot of things right for me. And then the big cow here that came out of the last class is just massive in her kind. You know, she's wide at both ends of her skeleton. She's got a ton of body. And, you know, you have to consider a little bit, too, the age of this female and just the management and the work that goes into keeping one this fresh and this sound and looking this good. I think, you know, these folks ought to be super excited, and as I'm sure they are, about her as in terms of a cow. And when she gets calved out and gets out of the show ring, the cow potential that she has. You know, for me, maybe if you're going to get super picky, this is the first time we've really had to analyze her against some true competition. You know, that one's maybe just a touch different in the design of her head and her neck, but I think she wears it well. There's so much mass and substance that goes behind it. You know, I think you expect just a little more of that with something with that much dimension to them. But for me, it's just a simple decision on type and kind and preference. There's one that I like awfully, awfully well out here. Congratulations again, and thank you for the honor today. I'm glad we get to give this calf an opportunity to stand in the lineup in contention for a championship, because she's maybe as unique and different as anything that we saw today, and there's some real special parts and pieces to her, and I'd like to see her just a little bit farther down the road before we get her all the way to the top of a show here. So I think this one's got so much good in her and so much usefulness. We're going to use her for your reserve today, and congratulations.
Congratulations to our grand champion yonder on the Hereford side. It's going to be Elbar W Cattle Company and Churchill Cattle Company with Churchill Lady. Tag number 519. Finishing in the reserve position. Tag number 584. Tag number 584 is Faith from Ned and Jan Ward of Sheridan, Wyoming. Staying over there on the Hereford side of the show ring, we're going to move to class number 9. When we get through with our pictures, we'll welcome cow-calf pairs. We'll get into a little more specifics in just a few minutes there.
Nice lineup of bull calves over here. The calf that wins the class catches your eye right when he comes in. Not that he's just a show bull. I think with that he's got a lot of body, a lot of hip, just a lot of good on him. He's as good on his feet and legs as any calf in the class when you ask him to go. Just very useful, great testicular development, clean sheath. I like this calf a lot. Just a very fault-free kind of a calf with added look, shape, and rib. The calf that follows him is more muscular, probably as muscular as anything in the class. I think it's almost a detriment the way he's shaped a little bit because he gets a little tighter in that forerib and just a little bit rounder in his design. Really a practical kind of a calf. It's the calf we worked up here in third. I think this calf's extremely raw, but I think he's as practical as any of the bulls in here, and he's just got a whole lot of good to him. I think he's laid back a little bit better in his shoulder than the black calf that follows him. He just doesn't want to stand correct out here. He's giving the little gal some fits a little bit, and he's just hard to put together, but I think when you analyze the calf, he's worthy of being where he is. This calf here is really masculine up through that front end. I think he gets a little more narrow-chested, and you can tell when you get him to move, too. He's just a little bit more restricted up through that front third. I'd like to maybe lay him back in that shoulder a little bit and soften him up. And he probably doesn't have as much volume to his hip as the bulls ahead of him either. I like the pounds and the length and the performance of this calf here. I question his masculinity just a little bit up through that head and crest, and he's just a little bit flatter jawed relative to the bulls ahead of him. I'd like to maybe make him, if he's going to grow and be that big and that big scaled, I'd like to see him just a little bit more masculine. The calf that follows him is really long and extended, got some shape. He's just a little too round-hipped, and that carries down into his hind leg, the way he handles him all the way down into his ankle. I'd like to straighten him up on his back third quite a bit. We get into a calf or two calves that are just a little bit tighter made. They're a little bit more restricted in their rib. I'd like to soften them up and make them a little more practical. I'd like to give this calf on the end just a little more hip and bone like the bulls ahead of him, but he's sure got some length and some depth.
Couple of very nice finishes there. Nice entries in that large class, class number 24. Gelbvieh bull calves calved January 1st through to 28th of February. Finishing in the number 2 position there was Time Warp. She wore tag number 407 and was presented by Ledgerwood Gelbvieh of Clarkston, Washington. And also finishing in the top position from Clarkston's Ledgerwood Gelbvieh outfit, Apollo tag number 406. Congratulations. We do need to the backdrop our junior winners and the Hereford winners for photos. We're going to move now to select our reserve champion junior bull calf and our champion junior bull calf on the Gelbvieh side. So we'll welcome back to the Ford F-150 EcoBoost show ring. Tag 406 from Ledgerwood Gelbvieh. Tag 407 from Ledgerwood Gelbvieh. Tag number 405, again Ledgerwood Gelbvieh. And from Bard J.R. Gelbvieh, we'll welcome tag number 457, and good luck.
Here's a lineup with some awesome individuals over here. Just tremendous herd bull prospects. I just like how useful some of these bulls are and how they're designed and how they get around the ring and how practical they are, but still have enough look to come out here and compete. This calf out of the second class, though, is my favorite. I like how he's made up through his neck. I like how it carries into his shoulder. I like his masculinity for his age, but I think he's still extremely attractive. When he gets around the ring, he's as sound as any bull we've seen yet. So good on his feet and legs, great in his testicular development and his sheath. He's just so practical. I think as Gelbvieh breeders, I think he merits a lot of attention. I think that's the kind of a bull that every breed needs, just to be that fault-free and have that much quality. He'll be your calf champion. Then I'm going to follow him up with our first-class winner up here, too. This calf's got a little bit more sheath. He's a little bit rounder constructed, but I think he's just so powerful and still sound enough. He's just a really nice calf to follow him. You'll be reserved here out of the first class, but two very nice herd bull prospects.
Congratulations to your reserve champion right there for the Ledgerwood Gelbvieh outfit of Clarkston, Washington. Tag number 405. They call him Time Bandit. And finishing in the champion position, tag number 406. That also comes to us from Clarkston, Washington's Ledgerwood Gelbvieh. He wore tag 406, and they called him Apollo. We'll stay right over here on the Gelbvieh side now and move to class number 28 as we're getting now well deep into the fourth quarter of our Gelbvieh show. Class number 28 is going to be a single entry. Tag number 408 from the Ledgerwood Gelbvieh outfit again of Clarkston, Washington.
Really a practical, very useful single individual here, or single entry. This calf or this bull's got a lot to him. He's got a lot of crest to him, I think, with still enough look, a lot of rib, very raw design, good back through his hip, good on his feet and legs, just a very useful kind of a bull.
Great single entry right there. That one is a senior Gelbvieh bull, January 1st through the end of 2015. So he's going to be your champion senior bull. And again, he comes to us from the Ledgerwood Gelbvieh outfit in Clarkston, Washington. He will also be your... We'll now move to selection for our grand champion Gelbvieh bull. We'll welcome back into the arena all those in contention for selection of grand champion Gelbvieh bull. Jake Scott making his way back over there to the Hereford side of the F-150 Ford EcoBoost show ring. So we'll welcome the cow-calf class number 9. 2 entries there, 557, Miss Mischief from the Lucky You outfit in Missoula, and 554 from Outlaw Cattle Company, Powell, Wyoming, Misty Scott bringing us Miss.
Really a nice lineup over here on the Gelbvieh show. A tremendous amount of quality the whole way through the show. But there's an individual that just kind of keeps popping up, and it's that calf out of the first division up here. He'll be your grand, and we'll use the big bull for reserve. Two outstanding individuals, really, really fond of that calf.
Congratulations to our reserve right there, Apollo from Ledgerwood Gelbvieh of Clarkston, Washington. And congratulations to Time Warp. I'm saying it anyway. And, excuse me, congratulations to Time Bandit.
As we look at our cow-calf pairs, I think we've got a really evenly matched set of cows over here, and there's a little difference in age, there's a little difference in condition, but when you kind of get beyond all that, I think both of these are pretty special cows. I'm going to use this 3-year-old to win it. I think her calf gives her a lot of advantages, and a set of pairs that are both nurse and March calves. I mean, he stands out as having lots and lots of performance. Cow's good enough uddered. She shows you a lot of hip and a lot of bone and a lot of structure. Still balances up nicely, maintaining her flesh really good, as you'd hope a 3-year-old would. You know, if you're going to change her and make her better, I sure kind of prefer the sweetness and femininity of that second place cow. And I see that up in the front third of her body. I probably see that a little more in her udder compared to our first place cow. And this is just 2-year-old over here and doing a heck of a job with that first calf. Really, really sweet made kind of a cow. Super, super from terms of a profile, long and level, and I think an ideal size for most people's operations. I guess out here today, though, I don't know that she quite measures up quite the same in terms of bone work, in terms of stoutness, but that's an awfully productive cow. Good calf there walking behind her. Super pair of females. I congratulate you both.
Congratulations there on the Hereford side. Tag number 557 comes to us from Missoula, Montana, the Lucky You Cattle Company. They call her Miss Mischief, and she's going to be the reserve champion cow-calf pair. And our champion cow-calf pair is from the Outlaw Cattle Company of Powell, Wyoming, Misty Scott with Miss. Tag number 554. So we'll welcome in on the Gelbvieh side right here. I'm going to switch over again to the Gelbviehs. We are going to Produce of Dam. This is tag number 458 from Bar J.R. Gelbviehs of Rainsford, Montana. Meanwhile, back at the ranch on the Hereford side, we've got class number 10, subclass number 1. We'll welcome in tag number 517, Tactical Plan from Cameron Taylor of Cheyenne, Wyoming. Tag number 510, Expert from Frank Herfords of Columbus, Montana. Tag number 581, Mr. Aventus from the Story Hereford Ranch in Bozeman, Montana. Tag number 532, Red Zone, Gene Stillhan of Cheyenne, Wyoming. And tag number 548, Cowboys, It's About Time, Tyson Grafen of Roundup, Montana.
Nice entry here in Produce of Dam. Very protective cattle. Really raw in their design, very practical in their appearance, just very functional type cattle.
Again, that was class number 29. We're here on the Gelbvieh side. Nice entry from 458. That was Produce of Dam. We'll welcome in class number 30 now. This is Gelbvieh. We've got 2 entries. 2 entries for Gelbvieh. Tag number 409 comes to us from Ledgerwood Gelbvieh of Clarkson, Washington. They call her Time Traveler. And Bard J.R. Gelbvieh of Rainsford, Montana. Tag number 458. Also, again, this is class 30, Gelbvieh on the Gelbvieh side.
I think we got an exceptionally nice pair of bull calves up at the top of the class here that gets our bull show underway here this afternoon at the NILE. The bull that I'm going to use to win the class, however, is a little neater package and yet a little stouter in terms of just sheer muscle. Here's a bull that's got a lot of rib and a lot of body in him. You get behind him and he's got a little more width and volume and density of muscle as you study him through his hip and there in terms of width going to the ground. A bull that's really, really clean made, and by comparison, I think his neck comes up out of his shoulder with a little more attractiveness, a little more style, and a little more balance than perhaps our bull in second. Our bull in second's a stout-made bull, and if we're going to change anything about this class winner, I'd like to add to him some of that masculinity that we see up on this second-place bull. Here's a bull that looks like a bull when you study him up through that front third. He's got some strength to his brow. He's got some strength through his jaw, and even at this young age, he's showing you some crest and some masculinity about that neck, and I like all those things about him. But then on the other side of the coin, here's a bull that just strictly by comparison probably gets out measured just a little bit in terms of overall body volume and overall muscle thickness. Is that to say that he lacks in either? Absolutely not. Tremendously good pair of bulls walking out the ring here. And I think this gets pretty close again in terms of third and fourth place. Third place bull, I just think there's a little more to him in terms of just overall stoutness and dimension. A bull that you like to kind of see the body volume that he has. Pretty good growth for this age, but a bull that if you're going to change, he's just a little tight and tentative today in the way that he wants to move. You see that tightness kind of show up in his top line right there in the middle of his back. Maybe there's one you just like to relax and see him go out with a little more freedom, a little more relaxation there down his top line. The young cowboy here leading out his next bull, I think just a super, super sound one. And I like that probably better than the bull that went out in front of him. Just thinks he gets out measured a little bit in terms of that muscularity. There's a bull, though, that's still pretty green. And as he starts to come on and develop and fill out more and more, I think he slides up this class down the road. And then the young lady here that wraps up her class, good, useful bull. Sure got a lot of the right parts and pieces today that we're looking for. Might just want to put them together in a little neater package. Congratulations to our bull exhibitors.
Finishing in the top 2 of the subclass over there on the Hereford side, we've got tag number 532, Red Zone, from Gene Stillhan of Cheyenne, Wyoming, and finishing at the top of the class out of Bozeman, Montana, Story Hereford Ranch, that is Mr. Aventus. All right, we'll go to subclass number 2 over there on the Hereford side now. Again, subclass number 2. Welcome, Lucky You Cattle Company, Missoula, Montana. Tag number 563, Magneto. Tag number 540 from the Daniels Hereford Place in Mallet, Idaho. They call him Renegade. Tag number 540. Tag number 528, Gene Stillhan of Cheyenne, Wyoming, from the Sticks and Stone Ranch, Humdinger. Garrett Jewett of Kalispell, Montana, from Jewett Livestock, bringing us tag number 560, Houston. And Misty Scott from Powell, Wyoming, the Outlaw Cattle Company, tag number 555, Yellowstone. Here on the Gelbvieh side, we've got class number 31. This is the best four head from Bar J.R. Gelbviehs of Rainsford, Montana. Your top finisher there in the best forehead, of course, going to go to tag number 458. Congratulations, going to Rainsford, Montana's Bar J.R. Gelbviehs. And that does conclude our Gelbvieh show for this morning. Thank you very much for coming out. Thank you for bringing your fantastic livestock into the Nile. It is always a pleasure to have you here with us. Thank you, Team Gelbvieh.
I think this is a little more challenging of a class for me, just from the standpoint that we've got some real differences in types and kinds, and you don't necessarily have that one that you just instantly hang your hat on. But I think once you analyze them, the bull